Crypto Caesar Capital. Hope you're well. It's the 8th of November 2024. Excuse me to begin with. I've got a bit of a cold, some man flu, so sounding a bit nasally, but let's crack on anyway. So here we are. It's the Trump pump. The Republicans won by a landslide victory. This is nothing but, in my view, positive for crypto. Choke point 2.0 will be dead in the water. There will be lots of positive regulation now, I should imagine, around crypto. Gary Gensler is going to be fired or will probably leave the SEC pretty quickly, I would imagine. And they will replace Gary Gensler with somebody who no doubt will be positive or pro-crypto. Someone like Hester Peirce, I would imagine, or the chap from Robinhood. So yeah, I mean, really, really positive for crypto. I don't think we could have had a better stage for this bull run to be set in. So extremely positive. And the market has already reacted, with Bitcoin now trading at just shy of 76,000 US lovely dollars. So really good, really positive. Breakout from the all-time high, trading at just shy of 76,000. And on our way, I'm sure, to 80,000. We also have a bullish cross on the weekly logarithmic MACD. Remember, if you're using a logarithmic chart, which you should always be on a longer time frame, you should be using a logarithmic MACD, not a linear MACD on a logarithmic chart, and vice versa. So we've got a bullish cross on the weekly logarithmic MACD. The structure looks good. The sentiment is good. The stage is set. So I think the next 6 to 12 months are going to be very interesting in crypto. And given the current or the new administration coming in, I think that towards the sort of higher end of this channel is possible. So in the sort of 180 to 200K mark, I think the 2618 at 187 is absolutely doable. In my view, this cycle could be wrong. As you probably all know, I'm more about timing a market rather than prices, but the top of this channel around the 2618, possibly even the 3618, which would be about 235K or so, is definitely doable. So that's really positive. Let's have a look at Bitcoin again on the cycle. So as you all know, Bitcoin works in 4-year cycles. If you want to know more about the 4-year cycle, then check out my other videos. It's nothing really to do with the halving, although the halving has something to do with it, but the 4-year cycles aren't measured in relation to halving. They're measured in relation to peaks to peak and low to low, more importantly, low to low. And as you know, if you've watched my previous videos, we are now very, very close to the midpoint of the cycle, the midpoint being around about the 18th of November or so. We are now the 8th of November. And you if you've watched my previous videos, you will know what Bitcoin does at the midpoint of each cycle. Very quickly, to explain the midpoint is basically the halfway point of a cycle, the cycle being measured from, for example, low here, the midpoint, this being 4 years, the midpoint is 2 years. Now, on every midpoint previously in the cycle, so this midpoint, Bitcoin was tapping at its previous all-time high. This midpoint of the cycle, what was Bitcoin doing? Attacking its previous all-time high. This midpoint of the cycle back in January 21, what was it doing? Tapping on the door of the all-time high and pushing through it. What's Bitcoin doing at the moment, at the midpoint? It's doing exactly that. It has broken through the all-time high, and we are now pretty much at the midpoint or getting very, very close to it. Now, the midpoint is a really interesting data point really to look at when we're looking particularly at Bitcoin dominance as well. I've marked out the midpoints here. This was the midpoint of 2017. What happened? Bitcoin dominance fell off a cliff. What happens when Bitcoin dominance falls off a cliff? Yes, an alt season starts. So let's take out the MACD. This was the next midpoint. What was going on at the midpoint in 20th of or so of December 2020? Bitcoin was breaching through its previous all-time high at 20K, and Bitcoin dominance started to break down. Now, as you probably all know, I've been looking at Bitcoin dominance now for a significant period of time. I called 58, 60% about 18 months ago or so, maybe longer. And we are there. We've got up to we in fact got to 60.55%. We might go a little bit higher, but I reckon, well, my view is that Bitcoin dominance is now pretty much done from a technical perspective. It might go another 0.5%, 1%, 2% higher. But generally speaking, we are now looking at the top end of the Bitcoin dominance. So it's looking very toppy. And soon it will start to move its way down, causing an alt season. So we've got the midpoints of the cycle, Bitcoin dominance dropping. We're now very, very close to that midpoint of the cycle. We're pretty much knocking on the door. So an alt season is imminent in my view. I mean, if you look at Dogecoin, we'll look at Doge in a minute, that's already starting to break out a bit, but I would say that the alt season will really start kicking in towards the latter end of this financial quarter, so the sort of December time, and going into Q1, I think the alts will probably start to really, really rip. But as I say, I've done multiple videos on this, so maybe it's worth going back and having a look at those if you really, really want to understand Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance is something that you deeply need to understand if you are in altcoins. So let's have a look at Doge, for example. Dogecoin is a very good one to look at, has a lot of history. It's one of the oldest altcoins in the market. I think launched in 2013, December. So it's pretty old. It's older than most altcoins, if not the oldest altcoin. And you can see here that it's up today. I think it's up 1%, but it was up about 11 or 12% yesterday, and pushing through. So this is really the area of interest here around the sort of 20 cents mark. If it can push through the 20 cents mark, then really there isn't much overhead resistance, and it'll start to make its way home to the 1618, which is about $1.20. I'm expecting at least $1 from Dogecoin, maybe more. I mean, we've got Elon, who is very pro Doge, who is now obviously heavily involved within the Republican government. So I would say that Doge is going to go to my very minimum target is a 1618, which is about $1.20, but it could achieve those higher targets, which are $1.80 and $2.60. But Doge is a good one to look at from an altcoin perspective because, excuse me, because as I said, it's a really, really old altcoin, and it's kind of like, I mean, look at that. That is such an easy cyclical directional trade. I mean, look at it sets up these triangles and it breaks out, sets up these triangles and breaks out. I mean, every single time it just looks the same, doesn't it? I mean, it's almost exactly the fractal, the structure here is almost exactly the same as here and here. And what did it do on every occasion previously? It went parabolic. So I am suspecting that it's going to go parabolic, and we're going to have a pretty straightforward directional trade. I think we got into Doge around the sort of 8-9 cents mark. So this is an easy 12, 13x in the group up to $1. And you know, the first target really is $1.20 or so and change. So this is a good chart to look at. It kind of you can understand what's going on with the altcoin market. Doge is usually one of the first ones to break out, and that's kind of what it's doing at the moment. There are some other really strong altcoins. A new one called SWI, which I included in my report back in September 2023. Let's have a look at this. Let's put it on a lower time frame because that's not very helpful. Put it on a 3-day time frame. So SWI looking really good. We were able to get in around about sort of the September 23 mark. So we got in at around about 40 cents or so. So that this has been a great trade for us in the group. My minimum targets for SWI, I mean, you know, the first target's $3.40. I mean, that's definitely going to be achieved. The next target after that is $5.20. Then you've got $7. I mean, it could break through all of these. Sweet is kind of going up against Ethereum and Solana, really, isn't it? So it's got such a small market cap compared to those two. So it wouldn't surprise me, at the very least, that the 3618 is achieved at $7, and it's likely that it's going to probably go higher than that. I mean, all you have to do is look at what's going on in the SWE network, look at how many developers are working on the SWE network, how many meme shitcoins have been made on the SWE network. I mean, this is a good, strong directional trade again, and one that I'm happy I called back in September 2023. So there should be some decent profits coming from that. So everything's looking pretty good at the moment, guys. It's the Trump pump. It's positive. I think that we're going to have a really, really epic alt season. If you want to join the group, please reach out to me either on Twitter, or you can visit the website, take a look at the website, and then send us an email through the website. Come and join the group. We'll help you in this bull market. We'll help you make the right decisions, and hopefully make sure that you win in this bull market and not lose like, unfortunately, most people do. So there we are. I hope you are enjoying the Trump pump, and I will be back with a video, I'm sure, within the next few days or so. Take care. Speak to you soon. Thank you very much for listening.